Well, first of all, we can do better when it comes to agriculture workforce. We are, unfortunately, there's a lot of Americans who won't do that work today. And this task force we did showed that in a very, very thorough way. And we had the American Farm Bureau come in and testify. We had all the different commodity groups come in and testify. We had processors come in and testify. And so we need to make some changes. And we came up with some great recommendations on how to do that with this task force. Now, I'll be honest with you, the Farm Bill is just taking all of my oxygen, to get this done. But as soon as this Farm Bill is done, then I will be taking those recommendations. And most of those were unanimous. 16 members, 8 Republicans, 8 Democrats, with a pretty polarized. I mean, we had a couple far left and a couple far right members of the Ag Committee on that task force. But at the end of the day, they're probably 80 to 90% of the recommendations they made, it was unanimous. That's a great start in terms of legislation. And that'll be something that I'll embrace here in the 119th Congress, is putting that in legislative form and bringing it forward, because we are absolutely dependent. I wish we could say that we have all the help we need from U.S. citizens, but we don't. It's hard work. It pays well. It can pay very well, but it's still hard work, and not everybody likes working outdoors, and so that we need this. Now, what President Trump has been saying, though, is that deportation he's talking about the folks who've come across the border illegally. And I can tell you the people who come across the border illegally, and I don't know what that number is, because everybody that reports it or everybody talks about it, especially at a campaign event, it's a different number. So I don't know. We'll say 9 million. I've heard as many as 15. I've heard 10. But we'll just say 9 million. These folks aren't stopping to work on farms. They're not that's not the population that's filling these positions at this point. And so, and what President Trump talks about when it comes to the details behind what he wants to do, and I agree with this, and that's starting with those folks who are criminals, who have a criminal history, are part of gangs, that those folks need to be gone. They need to be out of this country and back in the country of origin they came from, and which is not going to be easy, because that's probably 160 different countries that we've had people cross our border illegally on. We do need to have food security when it comes to national security, and when it comes to agriculture workforce is a big part of that. And so I'm hoping I think we have the solution on how to address that. Making improvements with the H-2A permit program, and making it easier on the farmer, and quite frankly, provide more certainty for the people who want to work. As I visit farms, and I know every farmer hopes that their workforce is all legal, but it's hard to tell because, identification can be faked. Farmers would love to have confidence. And they'd also like to have confidence that whoever they have on their farm could go home for weddings and funerals and high school graduations, and then to be able to come back with certainty back to be able to work on the farm. And it's not just farms. Most recently, I talked with somebody at from Butler County that was involved in landscaping, and they only need people certain times of the year, seasonal, and they have a challenge. And the way the process works now, the bureaucracy of the federal government is awful. They actually usually get approved for the number of workers foreign workers they can use, but sometimes till the approval comes in, the need is gone. It doesn't seem like the Department of Labor understands that when it comes to agriculture, it is time sensitive. There's only certain times you plant and only certain times that you harvest. But it's a wide need, and it's not just production agriculture where you're growing things and livestock. It's also processing, because you can't have production without processing, and there is no processing without production. So what we'll put forward here, again, hopefully the first quarter of next year, will be comprehensive of all that. It'll be specific to agriculture, though. But maybe that would be if this is successful, this could be a great model on how to approach manufacturing and all the other areas where we know that we need more workforce. And I don't point fingers when it comes to the workforce issue. I think unfortunately, it's a cultural thing. I look at my grandparents' generation, they had 13 kids, something like that. My dad's generation, they had 6 or 7. We had 3. And today, kids are putting off getting married and starting families, because of a whole host of reasons. So the fact is, we just have fewer warm bodies, and we need workforce.